scrub. Get you a little fort, huh? Fuck about your little fort, nigga.
Forces have reclaimed
I hate you.
enemy strongholds.
I hate you too, little nigga.
What's up, young scholars? This the Dad Cypher.
On Christmas Day, we sit around the table bowing our heads as Grandma says grace. Cousins trying to avoid their food touch and afraid to mix that mac and cheese with the yams and greens. And there a little boy bleeds, internally, staring off into space. Silent by the oceans of grown-up shit talk, he looks across trying to avoid the eye contact of his abuser, a 60-year-old loser whose toxic herbs and venomous words are poisoning the little nigga fountain of youth. Got him hallucinating about drowning in the middle passage, but before his little feet can sink into the sand, he finds this message in a bottle, transversed over troubled waters from a fellow soul his abuser tried to slaughter, but that's another fable.
Baby boy sees hat sparking the flame like a match in my brain. Such a dirty game, such a dirty game, such a dirty game.
30-year-old baby boy kicks down my fort walls like Snoop Dogg kicked down the skyscrapers in NY. He wears white instead of blue chucks. Nonetheless, he gives zero fucks about this young buck under his watch. Twisting clock hands ahead of my time, and I'm only 7 when my sublime is fucked up with broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the steps because they just don't care about this pickaninny. He battered many of my kinfolk, and we were just babies, awaking our nightmares of a grown-ass man making life hell. But who could we tell he's a grown-ass baby boy kicking down our fort?
Infiltrating my 7-year-old mind was his sport. Infiltrating my 7-year-old mind was his sport.
Infiltrating my 7-year-old mind was his sport. You ain't shit, little bitch ass nigga with your fat ass. You must be gay or something. Always with your ass in the refrigerator eating all the pig feet, all the hog maws, all the ham hocks.
Many nights my heart stopped. Police flicker flashlights in my eyes as he slides, concealing himself between crevice of twin bed and lead-painted wall. And I recall Grandma holding back tears and a hammer to his head, trying to stop her little addict son from stealing food stamps. Sometimes I press my head against the cold, damp bottom of the toilet, numbing the pain, wishing God flushed me away, wishing my mother flushed me away, like my father flushed me away every time he would say, "Jay."
Put your uncle on the phone.
As they conversed about schemes and triple beam dreams, did he know that the steam coming out of his pipe was made out of my spirit? As they got high on their own supply, breaking all crack commandments. And I could not stand it to see 30-year-old baby boy cry when I found Grandma lifeless, trying to save baby boy from crisis after crisis. I lost faith when she died on the cross. Was she not good enough for that Lazarus hookup? My whole fucking world was shook up. Why does this baby boy, this piece of shit, get to exist only to make me suffer?
Baby boy sees hat sparking the flame like a match in my brain. Such a dirty game, such a dirty game, such a dirty game, such a dirty game.
Then God showed me his vision. Like Joseph, I was imprisoned by loved ones who didn't listen or see my eyes glisten. But the story that I had within me transformed my test into testimony to let this little boy know that he's not alone. And I'm here to make sure the world hears the little boy who's sitting at the table so he won't have another fable.
So grown-ups, make sure you don't miss this. The little boy looking down at Christmas.
Fuck your fort, nigga.
What happens if the stranger that you're trying to protect your kids from lives within your home? What if you call that stranger your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt? What happens if that person is being toxic to your child, to your daughter, to your son? My message in the Fuck Your Fort poem is to break generational curses. In that poem, I talked about the toxic behavior that I experienced, the days that I put with tried to numb my pain by just putting my head on the bottom of the toilet, or feeling like I wanted to crash face first in the concrete looking out of my project windows. I mean, those were some times that came from words, the cursing out, the punching of my chest, any of those things that some of us as dads believe makes us tough and makes us be a man. And we often think it's okay because, see, that happened to us. So if it happens to our son, they're going to be okay. They're going to be all right. But what that is transgenerational trauma. Now you'll say, Professor, what you hit me with these big words. What is transgenerational trauma? Well, transgenerational trauma is it's like, I want you to think about it like a family inheritance. Whenever it's a funeral, black folk, we get upset about who's going to get what because we know the value of inheritance, right? A lot of times we don't realize that we pass down toxic behaviors from one generation to the next, like we're passing down the El Dorado. And some of that stuff don't need to be passed down. And especially if you're talking about toxic behavior, it doesn't mean to be passed down at all. Because what it does, it leads our children to being more suicidal. It leads them to seek comfort in drugs and violent behaviors. And your child become the 3Ds, depressed, diseased, and dejected. And I know you probably say, man, that my kids will be all right. They don't need any help. I grew up like that. But think about yourself. How many days you spend playing, looking for that PS5 to escape? How many times you get that little drinky drink to escape? How many times you just say, let me, smoke something of this to escape? How many of y'all engage in sexual behaviors to escape? All of that is how we've been escaping trauma for years. But I'm challenging you today as men, especially as we get ready to get through this holiday season. I'm challenging you to become hyper vigilant, meaning that you pay attention to the people that you have around your children. You're going to do anything, and I mean anything it takes to protect your child so they won't grow up passing these same stuff along. Let me let y'all in on the secret, and I'm talking to you, Jazz, right there. No Jordans, no jewelry, no watches, no iPhones, no anything you could buy your kid is going to fix the damage that they receive from a toxic family member. In fact, Frederick Douglass said it is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. I'm going to say that one more time. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So right now, I'm challenging you, all the dads out there in the Dad Cypher Universe, to build stronger children. And on my next episode of Dad Cypher, I'm going to tell y'all how that trauma impacted me as a father. Yeah, I got a story to tell. I wasn't always this jovial person that you see on YouTube. I was in a dark place, y'all. And it definitely impacted me as a dad. I'm not proud of it, but I want to use my testimony to help you all get better, to help my kids get better, and to help your kids get better. So check out the next episode of Dad Cypher when I talk about how I parented as somebody who was abused. Take care.